What was the penalty for blasphemy under the law? This is the question that we seek to answer today as we continue our verse-by-verse study of the book of Leviticus on walking through the Bible.
His word, the glory of his cross.
If you have a Bible with you, turn to Leviticus 24. We're going to be reading from verses 10 to 23. If you don't have a Bible, don't worry. Just follow along with us on the screen. The version that we'll be reading from is the New King James Version. So, Leviticus 24, beginning at verse 10. Now the son of an Israelite woman, whose father was an Egyptian, went out among the children of Israel. And this Israelite woman's son and a man of Israel fought with each other in the camp. And the Israelite woman's son blasphemed the name of the Lord and cursed. And so they brought him to Moses. His mother's name was Shelemith, the daughter of Dibri, of the tribe of Dan. Then they put him in custody, that the mind of the Lord might be shown to them. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Take outside the camp him who is cursed, then let all who heard him lay their hands on his head, and let all the congregation stone him. Then you shall speak to the children of Israel, saying, Whoever curses his God shall bear his sin, and whoever blasphemes the name of the Lord shall surely be put to death. All the congregation shall certainly stone him, the stranger as well as him who is born in the land. When he blasphemes the name of the Lord, he shall be put to death. Whoever kills any man shall surely be put to death. Whoever kills an animal shall make it good, animal for animal. If a man causes disfigurement of his neighbor, and as he has done, so shall it be done to him. Fracture for fracture, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. As he has caused disfigurement of man, so it shall be done to him. And whoever kills an animal shall restore it, but whoever kills a man shall be put to death. You shall have the same law for the stranger and for the one of your own country, for I am the Lord your God. Then Moses spoke to the children of Israel, and they took outside the camp him who had cursed, and stoned him with stones. So the children of Israel did as the Lord commanded Moses. Why do some people skip the book of Leviticus? Because they see it as a book of laws, which they say don't apply to them, something that is true, and so therefore, why spend any time learning about them? But Paul said in Romans 15, verse 4, what was written before was written for our learning, and so not studying what was written before can hurt our understanding of the New Testament. When Jesus was accused of blasphemy in John 8, why did the people pick up stones to stone him? The answer lies right here in Leviticus 24. And so studying this passage helps us better understand what is said in the Gospels. Unlike much of the rest of Leviticus, this section is told as a narrative, which makes it easier to follow. The story begins by identifying a man who was the son of an Israelite woman and an Egyptian man. That God had Moses tell us this means that it is important. The Lord willing, when we get to our study of Deuteronomy, we will find that the children of the Egyptians were not to be admitted to the congregation until the third generation. According to my research, this means that during this period, they wouldn't encamp in the normal sections reserved for the tribes of their birth, in this case Dan, but in another section which was reserved for a mixed multitude. What this man did was that he went among the children of Israel and fought with an Israelite in the camp. Now the scriptures don't tell us the reason for this fight, but Jewish tradition points to this man wanting to be able to camp among the Danites, since his mother was from that tribe. Since such is not told to us in this story, we can't verify its accuracy, but it is interesting to note that as a possibility nonetheless. During the fight, the son of the Israelite woman blasphemed the name of Jehovah and cursed. Now from the Ten Commandments, the children of Israel were told not to take the name of the Lord in vain, but it did not give the penalty for that crime. Neither has any law handed down to Israel that we've read thus far. So since this man was guilty of something that was against God's law, something had to be done, so they brought the man to Moses. Now if Moses had been in the habit of speaking on his own authority, he would have pronounced the sentence himself, but no, he commanded that the man be taken into custody until the Lord could speak to them on the matter. When the Lord spoke, he told Israel that they were to take the man outside the camp. All who heard the man curse were to lay their hands on his head, and all the congregation was to stone the man with stones. Now what we must realize is that this was a judicial action taken by the people as a whole. It was not to be taken by private citizens as an act of personal vengeance. It was only done after the man was found to be guilty. The man who heard this man curse would have had to testify to that fact, and by laying their hands on his head, they were making a positive identification as to the man who was guilty. What happened if they lied? They would be guilty of murder, and so God also laid out For Israel, again the penalty for murder, which too was death. Cursing God and blaspheming the name of God was a serious offense. It showed that the person was utterly rejecting the true God of heaven. This is a sin he would have to bear, and since he was going to be put to death for it, a sin sacrifice couldn't be offered. The idea of dying unforgiven should have prevented an Israelite from sinning this type of sin in the first place. Verses 17 to 20 contains information that the Jews in Jesus' day had wildly misapplied. In Matthew 5:38, Jesus said, "You have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth." The Jews thought that what is stated here in Leviticus 24:20 gave them permission to take vengeance. If my neighbor broke my leg, I could break theirs. But that's not what this passage in Leviticus is saying at all. In context, God is speaking about justice as a society. If someone harmed a neighbor, society could mete out equivalent justice. If an animal was killed, it needed to be repaid. If someone was disfigured, the penalty might be disfigurement, but only after such was proven. But even if this was done, the sentence was carried out collectively, not individually, based on vengeance. This was important to understand and applied both to Israel and to the stranger who dwelt in the land. Once Israel heard what the Lord commanded, they executed the man who had cursed against God. With that, our time is up for today. The Lord willing, we hope you'll join us for tomorrow's discussion of Leviticus 25, verses 1 to 7, as we continue our walk through the Bible, one verse at a time. Thank you for watching today's episode. We hope that you found it edifying and ask that you not only subscribe to our channel and podcast, but that you like and share this episode among your friends, so that the saving gospel of Jesus Christ can go out to the whole world.